The fifth episode of Chief of War, titled The Race of the Gods, might feel like a slower chapter in the series, but make no mistake, this episode is a chessboard in motion. Not everything is about battles, blood, or spear clashes. Sometimes the quiet maneuvering of hearts, families, things, and loyalties sets the stage for wars greater than anything a battlefield can contain. And that's exactly what this episode does. It builds the storm, brick by brick, preparing for the inevitable clash between Kamehameha and Keoua. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Let's dive into the biggest moments, the character dynamics, and of course, that fiery ending that shows just how far Keoua is willing to go to claim what he believes is rightfully his. Kaiana's complicated return home. For Kaiana, this episode is all about coming back to the place he belongs to. His journey has been long and filled with trials, but he never lost his patience or faith. Along the way, he saved Tony from a life of pain and abuse, earning his loyalty and friendship. But as meaningful as that bond is, nothing matters more to Kaiana right now than finally reuniting with his family. But the home he's returning to isn't quite the same as the one he left. Time doesn't freeze while you're away, and Kaiana is about to discover just how much has changed. For Vi, who's returning with him, family means something else entirely. She carries the deep wound of having abandoned her son. When she set off on her uncertain voyage across the Pacific. At that moment, she didn't know if she'd ever return. Now that she's back, she craves another chance at being a mother, but those hopes are tinged with guilt and uncertainty. Meanwhile, Kaiana's reputation complicates things further. In the eyes of Moku, the chief council, Kaiana is a man who abandoned his king and played a key role in Kahekili's bloody takeover of Oahu. Yes, Kaiana may regret those choices and seek redemption, but regret doesn't erase the scars he helped carve into the islands. So, while Kaiana wants nothing more than to embrace his family again, Moku demands caution. The Nootka crew is kept on their ship, while Kaiana's fate is decided by Kamehameha and the council. The emotional core of Kaiana's return hits hardest when it comes to his family. He longs for Kupuhi, but her heart has changed during his absence. She's grown close to Namake, who, unlike her, can't hide his heartbreak when Kaiana's return shatters the bond he thought they shared. Nahi, in her wisdom, tells Kupuhi to give Namake space to heal, knowing the pain of unrequited love is its own battlefield. Namake's attempt to start anew, praying to the sun and cleansing himself in the Dak Torkathare's ocean, shows us that this isn't just Kaiana's story of return, it's also about the lives disrupted by that return. Keoua's sense of betrayal. Shifting to Keoua, we see a man burning with rage and jealousy. As Kalani Opu's son, he expected not just political power, but also the spiritual mantle of leading with the war god's blessing. Instead, his father handed that sacred responsibility to Kamehameha. For Keoua, this isn't just a political slight. It's a betrayal of his soul and his lineage. The songs of his ancestors, the traditions of worshipping Kukilamoku, the god of war, are central to Keoua's identity. Being denied that sacred role feels like his very birthright was stolen from him. Yet, despite his anger, Keoua doesn't want to be compared to tyrants like Kahekili. He wants to be seen as a legitimate ruler, not a bloodthirsty usurper. That's why he gathers the district chiefs, hoping to win them over to his side. Safai too, but his plan has cracks. The absence of Kamehameha, the chief of Kohala, undermines the legitimacy of this gathering. The chiefs are wary. If they side with Keoua, are they betraying their former king's wishes? And while Keoua's grievances aren't entirely unreasonable, the chiefs can't ignore Kalani Opu's decision. They respect the wisdom of their late king, and they believe he must have seen something in Kamehameha that justified entrusting him with the war god. So even though Keoua's anger makes sense, the chiefs stand firm in honoring the old king's wishes. This decision prevents an immediate eruption of violence, but also deepens Keoua's resentment. His fury doesn't vanish, it simply festers, waiting for the moment to ignite. Kamehameha's dilemma. Meanwhile, Kamehameha himself faces challenges within his own council. He has faith in peace, in farming, in building a future where Hawaii isn't torn apart by endless bloodshed. In fact, the episode opens with him teaching children about the taro plant, a sacred symbol of roots, identity, and life. It's a powerful image that shows Kamehameha's vision. He wants to nurture, not destroy. But this is exactly what unnerves some of his advisors. To them, he looks too soft. He's too reluctant to embrace war when Hawaii's future may very well depend on it. In Keoua, his father-in-law Moku is especially concerned. He fears that Ka'ahumanu's influence on Kamehameha is pushing him toward weakness. But Ka'ahumanu isn't simply whispering reckless advice in her husband's ear. She believes in him. She believes that his instincts, even if they lean toward peace, are guided by wisdom, not fear. Ka'ahumanu herself faces constant challenges, disrespected for being a woman, even though she proves her strength and clarity time and again. She's not just Kamehameha's wife, Hamahara's wife, she's his partner in strategy and in vision. And that's something both her father and the council need to recognize.
The red mouth weapon belongs to Kamehameha.
So, Kaiana's new role, John Young plays an important part in bridging Kaiana back into the fold. He reminds Ka'ahumanu and Kamehameha that Kaiana has something crucial to offer, having seen the devastation left behind by Europeans in places like Zamboanga. Kaiana brings not only experience, but also a dire warning. He knows that Hawaii cannot afford to underestimate the Palascan, whose greed and power could one day descend upon the islands. This positions Kaiana as more than just a returning warrior. He could become the crucial voice in Kamehameha's council, the warrior who understands war, but also knows the value of peace. But first, he has to prove himself. That's where the hihalua, the dangerous sport of racing sleds down volcanic slopes, comes into play. It's not just a test of physical ability, it's a spiritual challenge, a way of proving strength, endurance, and character. Kaiana hasn't practiced in years, yet he steps into this challenge against Kamehameha himself. The race is brutal, dangerous, and deadly. Many expected Kaiana to falter. Instead, he races like a man possessed. When others are knocked down, he keeps going. That determination pushes Kamehameha to dig deeper as well. And when they both end up in the waters, it's more than just the end of a race. It's the beginning of a powerful bond. Their mutual respect, forged in this perilous competition, marks the start of a friendship and alliance that could define Hawaii's future. Kaiana the warrior and Kamehameha the farmer king now stand together, each bringing what the other lacks. Keoua strikes first, but while Kamehameha and Kaiana are just building trust, Keoua refuses to sit still. In the final moments of the episode, Keoua takes matters into his own hands. Without the support of the district chiefs, he acts in secret, lashing out in a personal attack meant to wound Kamehameha where it hurts most. The fire he and his men set isn't just any target, it's the food storage huts in Kohala. These aren't just supplies. They're the very foundation of survival and security for the district. By burning them, Keoua sends a message. This is personal. This is war. It's also a symbolic move. Remember, those same food stores were what convinced the late King Kalaniʻopuʻu that Kamehameha had the foresight and leadership qualities to handle the war god better than his son. By destroying them, Keoua isn't just striking at Kohala's resources. He's striking at the very moment that defined his father's trust in Kamehameha. It's petty, it's cowardly, and it's fueled by nothing but jealousy and pride. But make no mistake, it's also effective. Kohala has been weakened, and the balance of power shifts dangerously as the island edges closer to open conflict. So, the bigger picture, Episode U, may not have advanced the war in obvious ways, but it sets the emotional and political groundwork for what's to come. Kaiana is now back torn between his need for redemption and the shifting loyalties within his family. Kamehameha is trying to lead through peace, even as his council doubts him. Ka'ahumanu shows once again that her influence is steady and wise, despite constant challenges. And Keoua, unwilling to accept what he sees as betrayal, is letting his jealousy drive him into rash, destructive decisions. By the end of the Race of the Gods, the chessboard is set. Alliances are forming, tempers are flaring, and the fire of war is smoldering, waiting for the right moment to erupt. Our nerdy thoughts? What makes this episode powerful isn't just the politics or the dice strategy. It's how deeply it ties those big events to personal emotions. Kaiana's longing for home, Namake's heartbreak, Keoua's jealousy, Kamehameha's humility, Ka'ahumanu's strength. These aren't just side notes. They're the fuel that drives the larger conflict. And with Keoua making his first move, we know the battles ahead won't just be fought with spears and sleds. They'll be fought with betrayal, pride, and the unshakable need to prove who deserves to lead Hawaii. Episode leaves us with a clear message. The storm is coming, and the islands will never be the same once it breaks.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.